Hey guys, I'm Jonna,
I'm Ethan.
and welcome back to another episode of.
Yeah, but you were thinking.
Oh my god, Brittany! Well, you were thinking it. Yeah, well, you said it.
This is the show where we say the things that you were probably thinking, but most likely too afraid to say out loud for fear that you might offend somebody. We don't care. Are you ready for today's topic?
I am.
Okay. It was really hard for me to pick this topic. I didn't know. We have so many good ones to go through that it's hard for me to pick. But all right, today's topic is going to be: is it considered a Karen for wanting good customer service?
That is a really good topic. So, is it considered being a Karen just for wanting good customer service? I don't think the wanting of good customer service makes you a Karen. I don't think the expectation of good customer service necessarily makes you a Karen. The level of customer service you expect, you need to dial it back at certain establishments. If you're at a Jack in the Box and you're expecting, fine dining service, maybe get your life together.
But okay, right. Obviously your expectations have to be dialed back. However, I don't think it makes me a Karen if I go to a Jack in the Box or a McDonald's and, everything in my bag is wrong and I send it back. I mean, I've seen people get called Karens for that. And obviously I see the way you talk to the people, always asking for the manager. However, sometimes, managers exist for a reason. And sometimes...
Yeah.
Yes, because sometimes people maybe they haven't been trained enough. I mean, it could be a plethora of things, but I agree to an extent that, or I guess I feel to an extent that you don't have to talk to the manager about every little thing.
No. And in fact, for me, I'm not trying to talk to a manager unless I have come to an end pass with an employee that I can't get what I need or want from them, and there's nothing that they can do.
Right. I think if your first go-to at the very sliver sign of a problem is I want to speak to your manager, yeah, then I think you're bordering, if not full on Karen.
Right. A manager is not someone that you should complain to. They're not the complaint department. Because here's the thing, managers, they got shit to do. A good manager's not just sitting around doing nothing. Managers are, managing shit. So if you call a manager over to help you because you want to let them know that, Pete, your server, when he delivered my Texas toast, it was too crunchy. You're a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
If you need to talk to, if you ask for Texas toast and they bring you out not Texas toast and then you send it back and then they bring you out not Texas toast again 7 times over, okay, we've got a problem. But if something goes wrong and like you said, your initial reaction is, I need to talk to your manager. Maybe shut the fuck up for a minute.
Yeah,
and try to remember what it's like.
That one out.
Try to remember what it's like to, and here I think a lot of Karens don't remember this
or no,
because they never had to, but try to remember what it's like to work in a job that you're not particularly thrilled about. If you work at Outback Steakhouse and you are a server there and you've been working there for 14 years and you love it, you know what? More power to you. If you're 17 and you're a server at Outback Steakhouse, odds are you're probably not thinking to yourself, yeah, this is it for me. And if that's the case, and you hate your job, that's fine. But as an employee, don't be a piece of shit about it.
Yeah, but I've seen people get called Karen take the manager out of the equation for just talking to the person hey, I ordered this thing or I asked for this thing. It's really wrong. Can you fix it? And people are oh, what a Karen. For example, I know someone personally who went to a restaurant and their food was cold when it was served to them. and it wasn't supposed to be cold. It was like dumplings or something. They went to a Chinese restaurant. I don't even know, but they sent it back. And then there was a table next to them, and the table called the woman, my friend, a Karen for sending the food back that was supposed to be hot, but it came out cold. How does that make you a Karen? I kind of feel like people have gone crazy with the word Karen.
I agree, but also, and I don't know who you're specifically talking about, it's as cliche as it sounds, it's not just what you say, but how you say it.
Agreed.
If you call your server back to your table by saying, "Excuse me," that's not how you start a conversation that's going to go well for anyone involved.
You shouldn't walk into an establishment, first of all, looking for a problem. Because if you are looking for a problem, you're probably going to find one.
100%.
Like, nothing's going to live up to your expectations that way. And, like, you know, it's hard enough. These servers, they have to deal with crappy people all day long. I mean, it just, like, it kills me. When I used to be a server, how many people used to, almost like they spoke to you like they're better than you.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they have no idea why you're serving. Maybe you're serving just because you're bored and you wanted some extra cash or something to do. I mean, you don't know why somebody's a server.
Or you're just a teenager.
Right.
Or you're...
Regardless of what your job is, though, whether you're a ditch digger or a CEO or anything in between, just be kind to people and treat people with respect. Everybody should just start on that level.
Captain
then
Obvious.
You can, like, teeter off, you know, depending on the situation, but...
Well, again, Karen's... When we first met years ago, and
before the term Karen was coined, thank God.
you, and it didn't come out of a place of malice, but your voice, when you said "excuse me" to people, your voice and your face screamed, "Hey, bitch!" You were just saying "excuse me." You'd say "excuse me," but you didn't come off as "excuse me." It came off as "excuse me," and like I could watch the face of servers turn around and look at you like, "Fuck," because in their minds they're like, "This lady's gonna be a bitch," and you weren't, right? Mm-hmm. But initially they were like, "Oh no."
I try to be overly nice to servers.
Now imagine if you hear that voice, you see that face, and then you go, "Oh fuck," and you approach them, and then everything you thought was going to happen does happen, right? That, I think, is a Karen. When a Karen is rude and short and nasty and completely unempathetic or sympathetic to that person's situation. If something's wrong with your food, if you want the food you ordered or the temperature you ordered at or whatever, being disappointed in the food you just received does not give you warrant to just treat people however you want, especially because in a restaurant, and we are harping on the whole restaurant thing. Karens are found everywhere.
Yeah.
But in a restaurant, like, people constantly fail to realize that if you get cold food, your server's not going and sticking their finger in your food to figure out, "Oh, that's cold." Mm-hmm. No, if your food's cold, it's not on your server. Odds are, it's on whoever cooked it.
So I guess becoming a Karen really is more about the tone of your voice, the inflection, and what you're saying, as opposed to saying, like, wanting good customer service. But
and also what you're complaining about. It's okay to complain. If you complain about shit, that doesn't need to be complained about. But also, the other thing too is, let's say that you go to an establishment and you say, "Hey, such and such isn't right. Can you please fix it?" Once they do fix it, right, the Karen is ungrateful for that. In the Karen's mind, it's, "Well, it should have been right the first time, so they can fuck right off." Where, on one hand, I understand that. Okay, it should have been right the first time. Fine. But that server most likely went, "I'm so sorry. Let me fix that for you." They went, they fixed it, they brought it back. they did what you asked them to do, and now you've got options. You can be, thankful that they did that, and yet still disappointed that it took 2 times, or you can be a cunt.
So, I mean, all right, we went to Ruth's Chris on Friday night.
Yeah.
And, I mean, for those of you who don't know what Ruth's Chris is, it's like I don't even know if I would consider it a high-end steakhouse anymore.
Yeah, high-end prices.
Yeah, they got high-end prices, but we're working with Applebee's service at this point. I mean, granted, we've never actually had, like, terrible service at a Ruth's Chris, but it's becoming vastly... I don't want to say worse, but like declining. And so we always order filet mignon. Filet is a really nice cut of meat, no fat, no gristle, nothing. And Ruth's Chris is notorious for their steaks being perfectly cooked, and the best cuts of meat, really good service, and it reflects in the prices. And we are more than happy to pay those prices to get that type of a meal. Well, we ordered our meals. He had a filet. It was medium rare. I got a filet. It was rare.
Because she's a savage.
And it took so long, first of all, to get it, which, fine, whatever. We know you're busy. We make good conversation. And we get our steaks in there overcooked. So we politely sent them back. And then...
I'm not gonna lie, I did eat the shrimp that were on top of mine. I ate them first, and then...
So you got 7 shrimp, and then you got 6 more.
When they brought my steak back out, yeah, I had more shrimp on it. I wasn't mad at it.
That's the difference, though. Like, that's your appetizer again. Your second appetizer? We need to come up with a name for that. But anyways, so we sent our steaks back kindly. We calmly explained to the waiter what happened.
He came by.
He was really apologetic, and we told him, like, well, it's not your fault. You didn't cook the steak, so you shouldn't be apologizing. So, anyways, it took probably another 35 minutes for our steaks to come again. I realized there's other people ahead of us who are also waiting for their food, so we just sat there. We didn't bitch. We didn't moan. Nothing. Our steaks came back again. My steak was a terrible cut. I mean, there's gristle in it. There's fat on it. It just wasn't good. So I sent it back, and I just told them, I told my waiter, I said, this just is a bad cut of meat. I don't want this steak, like, at all. And I just don't want a replacement. And I think I said it in a nice tone, like, nicely. I was a little agitated because I was hungry, and I was really in the mood for a steak. I wanted a steak so bad.
And our server, shout out to David. Hey, David.
That's right. His name was
David. David was, when you said that, he wasn't. I could tell he did feel some kind of way, but not about your attitude. He felt some kind of way because he seemed mortified that not only did we just send our steaks back, but then when he came back, it's like, how is everything looking? When you said, you know what, it's not good, and I don't want it anymore. You can just take it, and you said it respectfully. You said it nicely.
I didn't make a scene. Like, I never do. Like, it's disappointing, yes. But as long as, I think if we're just all on the same page, like, hey, I didn't get what I wanted. I didn't even say, like, please take it off the bill. He automatically took it off, which I think that was the right thing to do. I mean, I left there hungry. So, but there was no reason to call the manager over. Because what is the manager going to do? I mean, he went and talked to the manager. I didn't ask to talk to the manager. He told the manager.
When he came back, however many times, when he came back after all that went down, he said, I talked to my manager. I'm really sorry about that. I went and talked to him. I took it off the bill, and he would like to offer you a free dessert. And of course, we're trying to freaking eat healthier. And so we're like, yeah, we're good on the dessert. And he's like, are you sure? We're like, really? Thank you so much.
Yeah, we appreciated what he was trying to do. And I think that where a Karen would come in here would be like, no, well, you need to take, even though he ate his completely. You need to take everything off the bill and give us free desserts to go. And the whole restaurant the manager would need to be called over. It would be a whole thing.
And also, I am part owner of this Ruth's Chris now.
And I just think that, like, it really comes back down to you attract more flies with honey. You're not going to get anywhere anywhere better by being a bitch, which is really synonymous with the name Karen.
That's where I disagree.
Really?
I'm not saying it's the way to go. And I'm not saying that you should do that or whatever, but to say that being a bitch doesn't get you anywhere.
Okay, yes, I have gotten sideways with some people because.
And so have I. And guess what?
But most of the time but you got to pick and choose those things, and it's not like being that way to a server or to a retail manager or a nail technician or probably some service related industry is probably not going to get you anywhere.
Well, and I think that's, again, sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Either way, like, don't be a dick, be a dude. And that goes for ladies too. If you can choose, right? If you still have a choice, because sometimes there are times where, okay, the only way I can get what I need, and it's of actual importance. It's not, my fries are cold. There's only one way to get what you need, and that thing is important, and that way to get it is by being a dick or a bitch or whatever. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do, but your threshold for what constitutes when you're gonna act like that should be high. It shouldn't be
right. It shouldn't be your first reaction.
Ever. And I think that's what makes you a Karen.
But now on the opposite end of this, I think that we have gone on this thing as a society where we feel now that you're allowed to provide poor customer service because people are so afraid to be called a Karen. I realize that there's a worker shortage. I get that. I am very patient when I go places, especially out to eat. But I have noticed in most places that there has become this overwhelming decrease in customer service. People just don't want to help. And I mean, I get people are only working at these jobs because they have to. They're not getting paid enough. We have inflation. People are struggling to pay their bills. We have just so many issues. I get that. But you're already at your job. You could try to make the most of it. And I'm obviously not talking about people who are dealing with some traumatic events, you know what I mean? But the likelihood of that being every person I come in contact with in the service industry, yeah, come on now. But I do feel as though we have had this influx of Karens and these people who demand this certain level of service. I'm sorry, but like you said, if you go to Jack in the Box, yeah, you're not going to get, quality A+ fine dining service. I mean, come on, get real. You're not special. Even as much as your parents told you that you are, you're not that special.
That's kind of where I veer away from what you're talking about is it's a chicken and egg situation. So did service decline and that's what brought on more Karens? Or did the level of entitlement that people have for whether it's service or food or whatever, did someone tell you your whole life that you are the perfect little thing and you're just the best and everyone should just do everything you want? Because if that's the case, odds are you probably feel some kind of way when you don't get what you want. And if there's a huge influx in that, I can totally see where the service industry, people who work in service every day, right? We don't work in the service industry. Well, right. I kind of do, but not really.
Yeah, it's different.
But if you work in the service industry every day, right, you deal with customers every day. We are customers, but we don't enter into the service industry every day. We don't get served every day, right? Yeah. So if you are in the service industry and you deal with people every single day, day in, day out, all the time, if the majority of your customers, and I'm not saying this is necessarily the truth or not the truth, but the case, if the majority of the people that you deal with suck all of the dicks all of the time, and they just treat you like shit, no matter how your service is, why would you give a shit? If I'm gonna get treated like dog shit all the time, regardless if I go the extra mile or I stand around and don't do anything, yeah, odds are people are probably gonna choose the latter.
I think that
You know what I mean?
I really think I think your question is answerable though. I think it's the self-entitlement that came mostly, I think, from social media and the constant validating of people's opinions, which this is a whole other episode, but just touching on this, we are constantly putting our opinions out on the internet into an echo chamber. And we have all these people on all these different platforms going, yeah, you're totally right. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And that just makes that person solidify and double down on their feelings. And so they take that out into the world where that is not the case. Those people on social media, I'm sorry, but like that is just not how it works out in the world. And I'm watching this happen, and these women are hyping people up over, we're talking about body positivity, like you can be healthy at every size. Yet another topic for another video, but science proves that is just not true.
No, you fucking can't.
Dating, people are constantly talking about like, and it's different for men and women, but like women are, telling each other all this like false information because we have people at our fingertips constantly. So I think it is the sense of entitlement that came from the social media boom that people took, and it slowly grew, and they took that self-entitlement and they took it out with them to the world, and now they treat customer service representatives and industry like servers and all that stuff. It just seems like everybody's patience is so thin now, and yet everybody expects, they're just more entitled, and because of that, they're like, well, you didn't get it right. Were you even listening to me? I mean, hello, there's like 100 other people in the restaurant at any given time that you're also in the restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
They're not robots, they're humans, they're servers. I mean, it's probably only going to be there for a couple more months, and then you'll never see them again at that restaurant, but you're going to keep going there. Probably. Maybe. It depends if you had a bad experience. Like, we for sure won't be going back to Ruth's Chris. It sucks because it used to be our favorite, but I'm pretty much done. That wasn't our only experience, like bad experience there. Now I feel like I sound like a Karen. But that's what I mean. Like, I feel like if you start to talk bad about anything like that, people are like, oh, that's a Karen. She sounds like a Karen. Or was it a Carl for a dude?
No, it's a...
Are you sure? Kyle.
Or Chad sometimes.
I've never heard the Chad.
You're a Chad. Well, if you're going to stop frequenting an establishment, I think for instance, I'm always going to go to McDonald's. And you can't fucking stop me. And you can suck it. I don't care if the next 5 times I go to McDonald's it's disappointing in the service or the quality or whatever. I know in my heart of hearts that McDonald's is the shit. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to eat there, and you can't fucking stop me. So with that being said, if I go to McDonald's by myself, I'm probably going to spend around $10 just for me, right? If I go to Ruth's Chris by myself, it's going to be $100 just for me, right? So if I go to Ruth's Chris and I have a bad experience, I'm most likely going to chalk it up to, off night. Mm-hmm. And I'll be back because I love it so much. Mm-hmm. If I go back again, still a little off, go back again, still a little off. All right, so now I'm there for the 4th time, and now we have what happened last night, or not last night. Friday. That happens. Okay, so I'm not trying to give it another go
at
when
that
that price
right.
point. Nah, I'm good.
Right.
I'm good.
Especially when we can spend that money at another restaurant, even if it's a little bit more, like a higher price point, but you're getting better service, better quality. I'd rather pay more and get better than to pay high prices for below average service and standards and all of that.
For sure.
But I mean, you know, I went through the McDonald's drive-through not that long ago, and there were supposed to be 3 things of fries in the bag, 3 servings or whatever, and there's only 2. And I always check my bag at the drive-through. Like, I'm sorry if you're behind me, but like they get that shit wrong way too much to not be checking your bag. And like, yeah, my anxiety kind of just like, oh my gosh, there's people behind me. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? No, I know it's going to be wrong. And guess what? It's always wrong. So I checked my bags. So there was only 2 things of fries in there. So I said to the guy at the window, I was like, hey, I need 3. I'm supposed to have like another medium fry or something. And he looked at me like I was fucked up. Like, why? Like, why do that? Like, I paid the money already. It's not like I'm not asking you to go pick the potato and then cut the fries and then I'm not asking you to do it. I'm just asking you to be like, hey guys, can we get another thing of fries? It'll take 10 seconds.
But once again, though, right? You're not at a Ruth's Chris. I'm not saying that you shouldn't expect your food. Hear me out,
Okay.
You big jerk. You know how many people try to rip McDonald's off daily? Daily. You know how many YouTube videos there are about how to get free food from McDonald's?
No,
Tons
I didn't
of
know
them.
that.
Yeah,
I don't watch that
when
kind
you
of
go to
stuff.
McDonald's and you say to them, like, for instance, when you pay at the first window and you get your receipt, don't crumple that receipt up and throw it in your door or something. Hold on to it. Because if you don't have your fry that you need or whatever, this is what I do, personally, because I'm a McDonald's champion. If you are missing something from your bag, you say, excuse me. They open their window with their black magic, and you hand them the receipt and say, I'm missing a fry. They probably won't even look at your receipt. But the fact that you're doing that, you're saying, listen, I'm not...
Okay, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm not trying to steal food. I'm not trying to scam you. And I'm also not trying to, call you out. I'm just saying, hey, I'm missing a fry. Did you do anything wrong by saying I'm missing a fry?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. But if you deal with people who are constantly trying to scam you all day long, and someone says, hey, I'm missing a fry, your first reaction is probably not, oh, that poor woman, I'm so sorry. It's this bitch.
Okay. McDonald's, it makes billions of dollars a year with an S. Billions a year. So, and what I am
but Fred doesn't.
Whoa. By
Fred
no
doesn't.
means am I trying to say or promote or praise ripping anybody off, or even a major corporation like McDonald's. I think that's wrong, and you're kind of shitty if you do that. You're a lot bit shitty if you rip anybody off. But it's not like Fred working the night shift. It's not coming out of his paycheck. When I ask for an extra thing of sweet and sour sauce...
You don't think that comes out of his paycheck?
How could it come out of his paycheck?
Oh, all right. So, I never worked fast food, not a day in my life, but I know tons of people who have. Tons. In fact, I know a family who works at McDonald's together. If you give away free food on accident, yeah.
I worked at McDonald's when I was 16. Yes.
Oh, I forgot you did.
And no, the hell it doesn't.
If you get caught somehow giving free food away, yeah.
If you're giving it away,
not on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not talking about on purpose. I'm talking about what we're talking about. About somebody being like, hey, I ordered 3 fries. There's only 2. Think about how many times we have gone through the drive-thru, and he doesn't like pickles on his burgers. He doesn't like warm pickles. Ugh. He always asks for them without pickles. Like 97% of the time, it has pickles on it. So yeah, they
don't do McDonald's dirty like that.
It's not just
more
McDonald's.
Like, it's more
I'm
like
talking
43%.
I'm talking about all the fast food places that we go collectively, not just McDonald's.
Very well.
You always get the pickles on there. And now that's the one that I don't do. I won't sit in the drive-thru and take everything out of the bags, open it up and be like, this has pickles on it. Can you please take it back? I'm not going to do that. But they get it wrong so much. And I know that they have profit margin losses. So like,
of course
they
do.
have a percentage in there for those rip-off people. Just the same way every business has a profit margin loss for stealing. But it's like those big, the big cities where all these people just go in and just take the stuff. Well, then those places just close down and then they don't open back up because they're not, that's exceeded their profit margin loss. And now they are not making money, they are losing money. So it makes them more money to just not have it in that place. It's very simple. I mean, like there's just, that's crazy.
Nonetheless, you most certainly can, I promise you, get punished at McDonald's for...
If you're giving away random ass free food, yes, absolutely.
That's not what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. If you are, it's not like a one-time thing. Oh, you accidentally got ripped off for one medium fry, you got to pay for that. But when they run their books and they take inventory and they realize that every time you're on shift, running the window, every time there's more loss than other times, yeah, you will get dealt with. Most likely, if you... Again, I know people who've been fired from McDonald's and Burger King.
But I didn't. But so here's the thing. What I did, they when they go to check their inventory, they will see that they're right on the money.
Right, and this brings it full circle. What I'm saying to you is, if every single day you deal with people trying to rob you, not even, I shouldn't say rob, but finesse you out of your shit.
Funny, because I feel like McDonald's is always robbing me with these prices. I'm saying.
Good one.
They're freaking expensive now.
Anyways, if you deal with people every single day that are trying to finesse you out of food, and yeah, your first thought is not, oh, that poor woman, it's, is she full of shit or not?
I mean, like, I get it.
I know it's
people
cynical.
are out there, but like, that's extra. That is too extra. That's too extra for me. Like, I don't have time for all that. I just want my freaking fries and to be on my merry ass way.
And did you get your fries?
I did.
All right.
And an extra bag because they were trying to get me on a bag.
So
I didn't even ask for my sweet and sour sauce because I thought I already took up too much time in that window.
Right. So check it out. You got a little bent out of shape because he looked at you some kind of way.
I didn't get bent out of shape. I remember thinking.
Not in the moment, but I'm saying right now.
Yeah, I
you
just
remembered
remember
it.
thinking to myself, like, dang, dude, I paid for the fries. Like, you're not gonna look at me like that. It's not like I'm asking for your right arm.
Right, but he gave you the fries. He didn't. Did he argue with you? Did he fucking tell you, fuck you? Show me a receipt. You fucking lie. Like, nah. He's just like.
Anyways, I didn't act like a Karen to him. And I know that there's plenty of people who that one small thing would have set them off. And that would have brought out the Karen or the Kyle or Carl or whoever.
Carl.
In them. So I guess to wrap this video up, I would say that it's okay to expect good customer service. Just keep your expectations realistic for the establishment that you're patronizing. And remember that you are not the only person that those servers or workers have seen that day. And, you know, they might be having a bad day. You might be having a bad day. But, you know, a smile goes a long way. I didn't mean to make that rhyme. It didn't. It just happened. So,
she wrote it down prior.
It's
written on
this
the
is
wall
actually
right
a
there.
scripted show.
We practice long and hard to make sure that we get the banter down just right.
Anyways, yeah, don't be a Karen.
Don't be a dick.
But also, remember, it's okay to want good customer service. If you don't get it, just take your losses, I guess, sort of. I mean,
We're not ending the show there. That's a stupid thing to say. I refuse to accept that.
you're right.
Don't take your losses.
Don't take your losses.
That's bullshit. If you pay for something, get that something. If you pay for it a certain way, get it that way. Just don't be an asshole in the process. Unless, for some reason, you must. It's gotten to the point where you must be an asshole. But odds are, if you're there within the first 5 minutes, you're probably the asshole. Not them. They probably fucked up, but you don't have to be a dick about it.
And also, no food, especially fast food, is ever worth fighting verbally or fist fighting over. That is the God's honest truth. Walk away.
Unless they are really trying to charge you for extra sauces, in which case, maybe you get punched in the face.
Anyways, we'll see you guys next time.